Welcome to Beyond the Blueprint, the podcast where we look at the hidden stories behind innovation, invention, and sometimes secrets. I'm your host, Quinn Sterling. Today, we're diving into a topic that sits right at the intersection of ingenuity, bureaucracy, and suspicion. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, or USPTO, and the persistent rumors of inventions the government doesn't want you to know about. Are there really patents locked away, deemed too revolutionary, too disruptive, or too dangerous for public knowledge? Is it national security or something more conspiratorial? First, let's understand the basics. The USPTO's main job is to grant patents for inventions, giving inventors exclusive rights for a set period. In return, the invention is disclosed to the public, promoting innovation. It's supposed to be a transparent process. You invent something novel, useful, and non-obvious, you apply, it gets reviewed, and if approved, it's published. Simple, right? Well, mostly. But there's a mechanism rooted in law that allows the government to step in and classify certain patent applications. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a fact codified in the Invention Secrecy Act of 1951. This act allows government agencies, primarily defense-related ones, to review patent applications. If they determine that publishing the invention could be detrimental to the national security, they can issue a secrecy order. The patent might still be granted, but it's kept under wraps. The inventor can't disclose it, sell it, or even develop it further without permission, which often isn't granted. How many patents are we talking about? According to reports from the Federation of American Scientists based on USPTO data, there are typically several thousand active secrecy orders at any given time. As of the early 2020s, the number hovered around 6,000. Most of these, understandably, relate to military technology, advanced weaponry, cryptography, surveillance tech, things you wouldn't necessarily want adversaries to easily access. So, secret patents are real. But this is where the line blurs, and the conspiracy theories begin to bubble up. The act is intended for national security, but critics and theorists argue it could be misused. Could technologies that threaten powerful industries, think free energy devices, revolutionary medical cures, or radical propulsion systems, be suppressed under the guise of national security? Let's look at some commonly cited examples, though it's crucial to approach these with a healthy dose of skepticism. One name that always comes up is Nikola Tesla. While many of his patents were granted and are public, theories persist about suppressed inventions, particularly concerning wireless energy transmission or potentially even more exotic concepts. While Tesla certainly faced funding issues and rivalries, definitive proof of government suppression of specific patents beyond known national security concerns during wartime is elusive. Then there's the story of Royal Rife and his Rife machine in the 1930s, claimed to destroy pathogens, including cancer cells, using specific frequencies. Supporters believe his work was suppressed by the medical establishment, possibly with government complicity because it threatened the pharmaceutical industry. However, mainstream science largely dismisses Rife's claims due to a lack of reproducible evidence and flawed methodology. His devices were eventually shut down, following investigations and legal action. Was it suppression of a miracle cure, or action against unproven medical devices? The debate rages in alternative circles. Perhaps one of the most famous examples in these discussions is Stanley Meyer's water fuel cell. Meyer claimed his device could run a car on water by splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen using minimal energy, effectively defying known laws of thermodynamics. He received patents, but his demonstrations were often questioned. He was sued by investors and found guilty of gross and egregious fraud by an Ohio court in 1996. His sudden death in 1998 from a cerebral aneurysm fueled intense conspiracy theories about him being poisoned to suppress his technology. Again, dramatic claims, but the scientific validity and the court's findings cast significant doubt on the suppression narrative versus a case of failed or fraudulent invention. So, what's the reality? The Invention Secrecy Act is real and impacts thousands of patents, mostly for legitimate national security reasons. However, the idea of widespread suppression of revolutionary, world-changing technologies like free energy or miracle cures faces significant hurdles. 1. The laws of physics. Many supposed suppressed inventions, especially in energy, appear to violate fundamental, well-understood scientific principles like conservation of energy. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. 2. The difficulty of secrecy. Suppressing a truly working revolutionary technology would require a massive, coordinated, and leak-proof conspiracy involving potentially thousands of scientists, engineers, patent examiners, and government officials worldwide for decades. That level of secrecy is incredibly difficult to maintain. 3. Patent rejection versus suppression. Many inventors whose work is cited in these theories simply had their patent applications rejected for standard reasons: lack of novelty, obviousness, or failure to demonstrate utility or proof that the invention works, rather than being actively suppressed. Or like Maya, they received patents but couldn't scientifically validate their claims later. 4th, burden of proof. While the idea of suppressed technology is compelling, concrete, verifiable proof is almost always missing. Anecdotes, circumstantial evidence, and suspicion abound, but smoking guns are rare. It's more likely that many potentially groundbreaking ideas simply don't pan out. They fail due to scientific impracticality, lack of funding, engineering challenges, or sometimes, unfortunately, because they were based on flawed concepts or outright fraud from the start. Does this mean no technology with potentially disruptive civilian applications has ever been initially classified or delayed due to overlapping military implications? Probably not. The lines can blur, but the narrative of a shadowy government entity systematically hoarding patents for free energy cars and cancer cures to protect corporate interests remains largely in the realm of speculation and conspiracy theory, distinct from the documented reality of the Invention Secrecy Act. So, while the USPTO does hold secrets under the Invention Secrecy Act, these are overwhelmingly tied to acknowledged national security concerns. The more fantastical claims of suppressed world-changing inventions, they make for great stories, but often crumble under scientific scrutiny and lack verifiable evidence. Always question, always investigate, but maintain that critical eye. That's all for this episode of Beyond the Blueprint. Join us next time as we explore the possibility of the CIA having advanced weather control technologies and what they would use it for if they did. Until then, keep looking beyond the surface.